Okay, today we're going to be making the most soft, fluffy, melt-in-your-mouth scones that are full of buttery flavor. They're simple and quick to make and pair perfectly with some more butter on top, or my favorite combo, cream and jam. So to start off, you want to preheat your oven to 220C or 425F conventional, and line a large sheet tray with parchment paper and set it aside for now. Next, in a large bowl, you want to combine 360 grams or 3 cups of plain all-purpose flour, 3.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 38 grams or 3 tablespoons of white granulated sugar. The sugar doesn't make the scones sweet, it just kind of adds a bit more flavor, but you can omit it if you're making savory scones, and then just whisk that all together until well combined. Next, you want to add in 170 grams or 3/4 of a cup of cold cubed unsalted butter that's cut into small 1/4-inch cubes, and then using either a pastry cutter or your fingers, you want to press the butter into the flour until the dry ingredients have turned a pale yellow color and resembles coarse crumbs with small bits of butter scattered throughout the flour. Next, you want to add in 180 grams or 3/4 of a cup of cold whole milk, and using a fork you want to kind of fluff the mixture up so that you end up with a shaggy dough. It's important not to overmix, so as soon as your mixture has that kind of shaggy dough texture, you want to stop there. Now next, you want to gently bring the dough together until it forms a ball. You don't want to overwork or over knead the dough, so once it's formed a ball, you want to stop there and then turn it out onto a lightly floured surface and gently push down on the dough to form a rectangle that's about 3/4 of an inch high. Again, you do not want to overwork or overmix the dough. Next, you want to coat the ends of a 2.5-inch cookie cutter or straight-edged glass that has a thin lip in some plain all-purpose flour and press straight down into the dough to cut out the scones. You don't want to twist the cookie cutter when cutting out the scones, otherwise it can prevent the scones from kind of rising well. Now you will have excess dough, so just bring the dough together again and cut out more scones. You should end up with about 9 or so scones. So once all the scones are cut out, you want to place them onto the lined tray from earlier, closely together, about 1/2 inch apart, and then you want to brush the tops with some milk just to give them a nice golden color when they bake. So once all the tops are brushed, these scones are ready to go into our preheated oven for 15 minutes, or until the tops are a beautiful golden brown. The scones bake up the best when the dough is still cold, so if you feel like the butter has softened a bit before baking, you can pop the scones into the freezer for about 10 minutes before baking them. Now I did make these scones a bit tall, so they're kind of lopsided, but you honestly can't tell once you slice them in half, but you can make them shorter if you want kind of more, uniform scones. So once they're done baking, you just want to allow them to cool on the tray for about 15 minutes, and then they are ready to serve. Or if you're serving them with cream, which is my favorite way of having scones, then just let them come to room temperature so that the cream doesn't melt. These scones are honestly some of the best scones I've had. They're soft, crumbly, and have this melt in your mouth texture that is honestly just so incredibly good. So that is it for today, guys. If you do decide to give the scone recipe a go, then please do leave a review on our blog. It really helps out our content here at Cakes by MK, and I'll see you in the next video.